Welcome. I'm Dr. Birkenstock, owner of Skin Body Health in Mandeville, Louisiana and New Orleans, Louisiana. We're also licensed in Alabama and Florida, where we do live presentations, anti-aging seminars, and Botox and fillers. Nationwide, we do a lot of Zoom and other conference calls for our clients that live anywhere throughout the United States. Tonight we're going to be talking about a very important topic, menopause, and how it relates to bone loss. Well, how does menopause relate to bone loss, and why does it even happen? Well, let's start back and think. When we're young, up until the age of 19, we're laying down bone, building bone, and getting great bone strength. Unless we don't follow a good lifestyle habit. So, if we're eating a lot of processed foods and pizzas and everything out of a box or a bag, and not much organic fresh fruits and vegetables, not much exercise, then even from the beginning, we're not laying down that beautiful bone that we should. This is also exacerbated by couch potatoes and young people who may be anorexic, so they have the eating disorder, or even those that are taking a lot of drugs and or alcohol, which we hope not, but sometimes happen. So you can get your maximum of bone building up until the age of 19. Between 19 and 28, you still do some bone building and absorption of your good calciums, but not quite as much. Then after the age of 30, the bone building really sorts to slow down. And then when we get to perimenopause and then menopause, we see a drastic decrease. What's going on? Well, when we hit menopause, we can drastically and immediately lose 5% of our bone in the first year. And in the first 2 years of menopause, we can lose up to 30% of our bone. That's not a good thing. Well, what in the world's going on? Well, estrogen supports our osteoblast. BB, osteoblast, or bone cells that build bone. Blast, build bone. When you have a decrease in estrogen, you have a decrease in osteoblasts, which are the bone cells that build bone. What's also going on, when you have a decrease in estrogen, we have an increase in osteoclast. Osteoclast, C, crushes bone. Osteoclast, crush bone, or decrease bone. So osteoclast crushes bone. So when we have a decrease in estrogen, we have an increase in osteoclast, which is crushing our bone, and a decrease in osteoblast, B, osteoblast, builds bone. So that's a perfect storm. We can't build bone any longer once we lose our estrogen power. And then we have a secondary effect. The other organ in our body, besides ovaries, where the majority of estrogen is made, or your adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands, which sit just above your kidney, they, through the same process of osteoblast and osteoclast, because they put out estrogen, when they slow down in menopause, and they were always secondary to building estrogen and progesterone anyway, another hit to the estrogen territory, which increases osteoclast, class crush bone, and decrease osteoblast, blast build bone. What the adrenal gland then does when it gets tired, sleepy, and doesn't put out enough estrogen, it puts out more and more cortisol. Cortisol is a bad guy. He's the guy that causes inflammation around the body, and he also increases osteoclast, the bone crusher, and decreases osteoblast, the bone builder. So again, we've got this perfect storm when we hit menopause. So we need to support the estrogen, and we need to decrease stress, and we need to support our adrenal glands. So let's talk a little bit about some ways we can do that. First, let me back up a moment and say we're on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and we're on our YouTube. Our YouTube channel is Dr. Birkenstock Skin Body Health. We've been on YouTube for several years, and if you've missed any of our former webinars, we come on every other week. And they could be on anything from hair restoration to anti-aging to menopause for women, andropause for men, and all the different symptoms and disorders and what we can do about them. Botox, and fillers. Anti-aging so that you can live your best life full of vitality. All of our former videos are there, and we would love to see you. So visit our YouTube channel, Dr. Birkenstock Skin Body Health. And if you do share our video, like, but also hit the share button, we're going to be giving out a complimentary first 5 clients liver milk. And we're going to tell you how our liver milk supplement, well, what does that have to do with bone? We'll be telling you about that in a minute. So, what can we do when we hit the menopause part of our life and we know we're going to lose up to 30% of our bone mass in 2 years? Well, there's a lot of natural things we can do, and then there's a lot of prescription options also. I'm not a fan of the prescription options unless it's a severe case or some factor that we may need to use those, because they have a lot of side effects. Of course, talk to your specific doctor before you stop any of your prescription medications or start any other programs. But for my clients, we review that with your bisphosphonates. That's the class of prescription, bisphosphonates, that are for osteopenia or osteoporosis. So penia is the first step in losing bone where you're in danger, and then osteoporosis, you've absolutely got the bone loss, you're in a dangerous category, and we need to do something to rebuild that bone so you don't have a hip fracture, leg fracture, or some other bone loss, bone fracture in the body. And you know, did you know, we all know of older ladies, it can happen to men too, but older ladies that have had a bone fracture or an ankle fracture due to osteoporosis, even vertebral fracture. Did you know that of these people that get a hip fracture from osteoporosis, they are 5 times more likely to have a die in the first year of that diagnosis of the hip fracture. So it can lead to a cascade of problems and events that we absolutely don't want to go near. Hormone replacement therapy, which we'll discuss in a few minutes, can increase bone mineral density, and bone mineral density is simply the measure of our bone strength, and it's done with a DEXA machine. It can be done at a hospital or a physician's office, but that DEXA machine gives us a measure of bone mineral density, otherwise known as BMD, and that is the measure of bone strength in our bones at that point in time. So what are some of the risk factors of osteoporosis? Age, being older than 40 and or menopausal. Gender, females get it more than males, although both genders can get it. Race, so Caucasians get osteoporosis much more commonly than African Americans. Mexicans are in the middle, and Asians, while they get osteoporosis more frequently than even Caucasians, we have not figured out scientifically yet, they don't get as many fractures. So we're not sure of the why and the how on that, but even though they've got very weak bones, they're not breaking those bones. Again, we have not yet elucidated exactly why that may be. So Caucasian, then Mexicans, then Afro-Americans, Caucasians get it the most on that range of race and ethnicity. Genetics, if it's in your family tree, you be on the lookout because you're probably more prone to osteoporosis. Also, tobacco will increase your risk. Heavy ethanol or alcohol use, diabetes, and thyroid disorders can all cause excess bone loss and lead to quicker and faster osteoporosis. And last but not least, menopause via the decrease in estrogen and progesterone, as I spoke of just a while back. So going back to what are the prescriptions that are available for this, and those would be the bisphosphonates. I'm not a big fan, and I'll tell you why. So the bisphosphonates, some of the brand names are Fosamax, Boniva, Actonel, Reclass, and then there's some injectables, Prolia and Forteo. They will give you a 5% improvement in 2 years, 2 years after you start taking it. 5% is not a whole lot, and we can run the risk of some pretty dangerous side effects like jaw necrosis, bone pain, nausea, reflux, and esophagus disorders. So they do come with some pretty big trade-offs. In some cases, it may be something that we absolutely have to have, but I always try to use and do natural first. So what can we do naturally? Well, number one, we can eat better. So what are those 8 horrible things that we could get out of our diet that could improve our bone strength and decrease our bone loss? Number one, colas and sodas. Colas and sodas block the absorption of some of our good minerals like boron, phosphates, and calcium. So obviously we're going to decrease bone strength. Refined sugars and carbohydrates, same reasoning. So cookies, cakes, brownies, carbs, bread, rice, pasta, potatoes, and sugar, the white carbs, bad because they block absorption of the good vitamins and minerals and thus lead to bones that have decreased minerals and vitamins, as I'll get into further in a moment. Number 3, charred and burned foods. Charred foods like barbecue and crispy and blackened, those increase inflammation and oxidative stress, which causes injury to our bone cells. So we really want to have at a minimum cut down for charred foods, barbecue, burnt foods, blackened foods. Number 4, salt. Salt is hidden in a lot of our foods, canned goods, soups, processed foods. So it's there already, but it's not really salt that you taste. And then if you add more table salt to your food, you're getting a very, very high dosage of salt. Salt decreases absorption of calcium, so it's really not good for our bones. Number 5, pro-inflammatory fats like corn oil, canola oil, soy oil. Those saturated and trans fats are horrible for our body and our bones. Increases inflammation, oxidative stress, which again injures bone cells. Legumes. We've always talked about how beans and lentils, garbanzo beans, red beans are so good for us, and they are. However, they do contain phytic acid, PHYTIC, phytic acid. Phytic acid decreases calcium in the body. So do we have to give up our wonderful legumes and beans, which are so good for us in so many other ways? No, we don't. If we will take our legumes and beans and we soak them in either vinegar or lemon juice, and it can be plain white vinegar or apple cider vinegar, doesn't matter, or lemon juice. And if we soak them for 4 hours or more before we cook them, rinse them and then get them prepared to boil, steam, slow cook, whatever. Then the phytic acid comes out of the beans and you're rinsing it out and throwing it away. So the solution is, if we soak our beans in lemon juice or vinegar, we can then get out the phytic acid and enjoy our beans, get the good productive fiber and proteins and such from our beans without ingesting the phytic acid, which is so bad for our calcium. That was number 6, legumes. Number 7, alcohol. Alcohol in excess absolutely blocks B vitamins, calciums, and minerals from being absorbed properly. They go out in the urine and feces, and thus we're robbing our body of these good bone minerals, and we can get weaker bones. And number 8, last but not least, non-organic fruits and vegetables. So those fruits and vegetables that have pesticides and heavy metals on them, really not good. They're going to decrease your bone mineral density. They're going to cause oxidative stress and inflammation and all that other cascade of things that we don't want in the body, and will absolutely decrease bone and cause other problems and havoc as well. So as a recap, the 8 foods items that we don't want to ingest: colas and sodas, refined sugars and carbs, charred and burnt foods, salt, pro-inflammatory fats, saturated fats and trans fats, legumes, beans, without soaking them. Soak them and they're back in the good realm. 7, alcohol. And 8, non-organic fruits and vegetables. So please eat organic fruits and vegetables that we don't have the heavy metals or pesticides attached to. What are some of the supplements or additional vitamins and minerals we can use to put back into our body that helps rebuild bone? Remember, osteoblast builds bone. So rebuild those bone cells via osteoblast and decrease that crushing of the bone or loss of bone with osteoclast. Osteoclast crushes bone. What we can do for that are several vitamins and minerals. So in our product SPH, you're going to have a grouping of calcium, vitamin D, vitamin K2, magnesium, boron, and zinc. All of those vitamins and minerals have been proven to increase bone cell growth, rebuild bone, and bone health. K2, very, very important. So it's not just vitamin D. It's D with K2. So we've got that in a serum form, but we've got most of the vitamins and minerals you need all in this product, the Skin Body Health. And K2 drives calcium into the bone. And so it's not only enough to eat the calcium or to add the calcium supplements, we need to drive that calcium right into the bone. And the way we do that is through K2 via support from vitamin D3. They're all within here. Calcium, vitamin D, K2, magnesium, boron, and zinc. And it would be important for me to mention that this is chelated calcium and chelated magnesium. We may or may not have heard in the literature that calcium is not good for heart health, but that is a certain type of calcium. It's really junk calcium, and you'll find that in a lot of the cheaper supplements, and it's calcium carbonate, like Oscal, for example. It's unfortunate, but it's true. So calcium carbonate, very poorly absorbed by the human body. A lot of it goes out in the stool, but what doesn't accumulates in the heart, and that is very bad for heart health. That's why a doctor may have recommended calcium scoring of your heart for you to see if you've got some of this bad calcium that is accumulated in the heart. So we do not want calcium carbonate. Bad for your heart, doesn't absorb well in the places that we need it to absorb well. So in this product we've got chelated calcium, chelated magnesium, vitamin D, that K2 that drives calcium into the bones, boron and zinc, which all support bone rebuilding and bone health. Collagen, bioactive collagen decreases osteoporosis and rebuilds bone. So our Collagen Supreme product has these bioactive collagen in 3 different forms that rebuilds bone mineral density and bone health. Last but not least, this is the prize guy on the table, liver milk. Liver milk has a lot of things in it like taurine, artichoke, and so on and so forth, which is very supportive to the liver. So it's good for you. It also has milk thistle and tons of it. Milk thistle, which another word for that is silymarin. So silymarin or milk thistle has been shown to promote alkaline phosphatase activity of the osteoblasts. Osteoblasts build bone and inhibit tartrate resistant acid phosphatase activity, which is found in the osteoclast. So it blocks osteoclast crush bone. And it promotes osteoblasts build bone. So silymarin, milk thistle is wonderful for your bone. This is fairly new research in the literature. And this also includes taurine. Taurine also helps block the portion of the bone crushers osteoclast. So helps prevent progression of osteoporosis and therefore leads to an overall less progression of the bone loss. So our package tonight is osteoporosis bone builder. So our osteoporosis bone rebuilder. This set is the collagen, the collagen with the bioactive collagen, our Skin Body Health product, which has the calcium, the vitamin D, the K2, the magnesium, the boron, and the zinc. And then last but not least, our liver milk, which has got, it's a capsule that's got silmarian, which is milk thistle, taurine, artichoke, and some other ingredients that help block bone breakdown and increase bone support or bone growth. If you like our Osteoporosis Bone Rebuilder, it's normally $215 and it's on sale for $179. That's $179. It'll be on sale for 2 weeks. So if you're interested in having an impact in your bone health, I would try these products and I would do them for a year and then see what your bone mineral density looks like when you get to the other end and it's time to retest your bone mineral density in a year. Your DEXA scans should come back better. Your vitamin D and your calcium and your blood work should look better. Your vitamin K in your blood work and your magnesium. So you can see right in your blood work, you can test your blood work in 3 months. That's what usual minimum recommendation. And your DEXA scan you can see in a year and see what differences it can do for you. So retail is $215 and our sale price for the next 2 weeks will be $179 on our Osteoporosis Bone Rebuilder package. Please like and share to enter into our weekly drawing. You'll get a free milk thistle for the first 5 clients that share our video. Tell all of your friends about our videos on YouTube channel, Dr. Birkenstock Skin Body Health. If you'd like to purchase the bundle, you can go below to the link and look at store.skinbodyhealth.com. That's store.skinbodyhealth.com. Or go to our general website, skinbodyhealth.com. Go down to product link. That'll bring you to the store as well. So we love to talk with you and tell you all about some different things. We'll be talking more and more about the different signs, symptoms, and disorders that can come from menopause and what you can do about it. Last but not least, let me tell you about hormone replacement therapy. So the other thing besides vitamin minerals that have been proven to help osteoporosis, hormone replacement therapy. We told you in the beginning, decrease in estrogen, decrease in progesterone does what? Increases bone loss from the osteoclasts, the bone crushers, and decreases bone rebuilding because the estrogen can no longer support because it's gone the osteoblasts that build bone. So in the WHI study, that was the big study done around 2000 that said hormones weren't good. They later went back and found that hormone replacement therapy absolutely rebuilds bone. Hormone replacement therapy absolutely decreases risk of TIA and stroke. And what they then went and looked at was because of the age of the ladies involved and the different disorders that the ladies already had, that it really skewed the data against hormone replacement therapy and said that it could lead to cancer, when in fact, when you tease out the variables, this in fact was not true. They did not bring a lot of that information back to the forefront after they scared everyone from hormone replacement therapy. Now, would I swallow or ingest synthetic hormone replacement therapy made with horse urine or any of the other products? No, I would not. And I'm not a big fan of the pellets or the patches either. But natural bioidentical hormone creams, little bit of cream, morning, little tiny bit in the evening, you're done for the day. We can replace your good estrogens, estradiol, estriol, your progesterone, not with progestin, which is a synthetic bad form, but actually with progesterone from plants, testosterone and DHEA, depending on your blood work. And we custom develop formulas just for you. So I'm a big fan of hormone replacement therapy. Of course, we always have to take into effect risk factors, genetics, family history when we're developing a plan for everyone, and always talk to your doctor. But I'm a big fan of hormone replacement therapy. It's going to improve your estrogen progesterone balance, which we saw in 2000, the WHI WHO study, we absolutely saw an improvement in bone. So it may be something for you to consider. I'm Dr. Birkenstock, Skin Body Health. Our website, skinbodyhealth.com. You can text us 985 985-727-7676. Again, that text number is 985-727-7676. We're always happy to hear from you. And until next time, I wish you the best vitality and health.